What's up, love bugs? Welcome to the video. Today I want to take you through my journey of holistically healing myself, my mind, body, spirit, soul, all of it combined, and really how to come to a place of synergy within mind, body, and spirit, and how I've been able to holistically heal my body, my hormonal issues, my gut issues, my body just in general. So I'm going to kind of talk about like what I went through and how I've been able to heal. This is probably going to be a little bit of a long video, but it's a journey, right? So I like wrote on my whiteboard over here, if you see me like look over here, my holistic healing journey. And basically this started, you guys know I've talked a little bit about it, that I have struggled with eating disorders, anorexia, orthorexia, body image issues from a really young age, but really the past 6 to 8 years, I'm not sure if I count up on my fingers, with eating disorders, and that has caused a lot of my health issues to come up. It's caused me to really struggle with adrenal fatigue, with hormonal issues, with gut issues, with anxiety and depression, and it's really like stolen a lot of my health and happiness. And so this is going to be more so on the side of like body, how I've holistically healed and the things that I've done, because a lot of you guys know like my journey, I've had a lot of health issues, and it's risen up a lot from my mindset, right? Because we know that eating disorders really have nothing to do with food. It's all with our relationship to ourselves and our relationship to our bodies, and a lot of trauma a lot of the times underneath the surface. And so anyways, I dealt with my eating disorder stuff, and then about 3-ish years ago, I hit a really strong point of adrenal fatigue. And basically it got to the point where, I had been doing like bikini competitions, bodybuilding for about 3 years, and I jumped into the fitness world, bodybuilding world, bikini competition world, Instagram fitnessy influencer stuff, right after my eating disorder, the first go around. So basically I didn't have a proper recovery with my eating disorder and with anorexia the first go around, and I just kind of started eating again, and I jumped into fitness because it was like the one thing that saved me, I said. And it did. It gave me an outlet. It gave me a healthier way to go about my obsessive control and obsession with my body. But the way in which I was going about it was not true health. And I think we all know that the health and fitness industry are very different things. And so anyways, I was in that world for about 3 years and doing bikini competitions, and basically it was a way for me to cover up and still hold on to a lot of that disordered eating, with a lot of body image issues, with just being very obsessive. But really what I discovered 3 years later was that I had relapsed with my eating disorder twice, and kept having all of these issues where even though everything looked great on the outside, I was really struggling internally, especially with my body image, with being super restrictive and having all these this weird relationship to food, basically. And so I finally hit this point about like 3 years later where I hit massive adrenal fatigue. And basically I was just tired all the time. I was like exhausting to just wake up. I remember that I would literally, and this is when I was at a point with my fitness business where I was getting a lot of clients. I had like 30 clients at one time, and was doing individualized programs for everybody, checking in with everybody individually. So I was very busy with like work, my business. It was my full-time job, and so I had all this influx of clients, plus I was trying to do YouTube, plus I was trying to do social media, and then training so much behind the scenes. And basically if our body is in a fight or flight place 24/7, if we're having a lot of anxiety or stress based on how our mind is perceiving things, it's going to start causing a lot of dis-ease within the body. This is where a lot of our diseases nowadays and a lot of these issues that are arising, hormonal issues, gut issues, all these things are arising because of what's going on, especially up here in our mind. Our mind is so powerful. And so a lot of the times our body isn't working against us. These symptoms are manifesting as a result of the stress, the fight or flight, the anxiety, all of the things that are going on, and what we're putting into our body. So, kind of going back to my story, adrenal fatigue, I like literally would get up and like do some work, go to the gym relatively early in the morning, and I would need to like nap afterwards. Like, it was exhausting. I was having like a pot of coffee a day. Like, it was just, and energy drinks and pre-workout. Like, I just needed anything to keep me like up. I was having all like moodiness, like all over the place. My energy was just all over the place. Zero sex drive, a lot of gut issues, which I said I'd always had trouble with, and like gas and literally like diarrhea. I know it's like TMI, but I think it needed to be said, like diarrhea like at least 5 times a day. Like, anytime I would eat, a lot of bloating, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, especially in terms of my energy. And I was like, if I'm gonna run a business, I can't keep feeling this way. And I was getting so depressed, so anxious, crying every single day, feeling just like not like myself at all. And I'll put like a little like thing here of like the symptoms of adrenal fatigue, but there's so much that it can encompass, and it can be caused for so many different reasons. I was having all of these issues, and I got to the point where I was like, I cannot keep feeling this way. I literally can't go another day feeling like this. And so, like I said, I had been, basically that was my second time relapsing with, I say relapsing with like anorexia, but really I had been struggling with it for years and years and years and years and years, like over like 6 years. And like now to this day, it's still something I'm actually working on healing. I'm actually about to start the Hungry for Happiness certification program that's going to really help give me the tools to help other people as well. And so anyways, I had really relapsed though, like I was losing weight really, really fast and doing a lot of restricting, falling right back into my like anorexic behaviors. And I was like, I need help, right? And so basically I started seeing an eating disorder like therapist, and did not agree with the process that they were taking me through. They were treating it symptomatically, just like, oh, exercise less, eat more. And it's like, that's not how that's not the reason for the eating disorder, right? There's so much below that. And so I basically was like, no, that's like not what I need right now. That's not going to help me. It's actually causing me to get worse. Because anyways, I won't go into it. Maybe I'll do a whole other thing about like eating disorder recovery. If you guys are interested in that, definitely let me know down below. But basically sought out a holistic health practitioner, and she really helped. She did all this, like, you know, doing a lot of testing, a regular doctor, like the typical blood test. There is so much that you miss because you're not hitting. It's just like they test a little fraction of the story going on. And so I won't get into all of it because I don't want to make this video like so long, but basically they test panels. They test all of the different aspects of your thyroid. Like, it's not just your T3, it's reverse T3, and like all these other aspects. So anyways, I was tested on a whole bunch of stuff, got a stool analysis test done, got just tons of blood work done, and they actually sat down with me and were like, what does your diet look like? What are you eating? What does your history look like? So I saw the holistic health practitioner that actually takes the time to sit down with you and get to know what's really going on, rather than treating you like you just have this little, you know, like thing that needs a little band-aid or like a little pill to make you better. I basically had, and still am struggling with, leaky gut, which is what so many of us are walking around, and we have it, we just don't realize it. But leaky gut, massive hormonal imbalances, basically my estrogen super low. I had my thyroid was off, but it wasn't, the regular doctor didn't catch it because it wasn't what they test, right? So with the holistic people, they test different varying degrees of things, and there's like 3 different things that they'll test at a holistic place. And they also have a different spectrum for what's normal. And so, yeah, something was off there. My cholesterol was like the worst that they had ever seen in their clinic. My omega-3s were like drastically low, some of the worst that they had seen in their clinic. And I look like this girl who's the fit girl who like looks like she has it all together on the outside, who always has this mask of everything's fine, and literally sitting in here like having a storm inside, brewing my body, like falling apart emotionally, physically, spiritually. And that was what was going on. Massive adrenal fatigue, my cortisol and all of that was just whack. And so basically I started this journey with my holistic practitioner that we basically started everything in the gut, because that's where a lot of dis-ease begins, right? And so basically with my holistic journey, I obviously had a lot of eating disorder background. Basically, I realized that I had to start putting my health and wellness above my physique goals and above this obsessive nature to hold on to like these addictive patterns that I had. And I'm actually going to do another video that talks about how I actually maintain a nice, lean, toned body effortlessly year round. Even now with this holistic healing journey, I didn't gain a bunch of weight. I didn't yo-yo, and I never have. And I'm going to talk about that in another video, because it's totally possible for everybody, but it requires healing rather than quick fixes. So anyways, back to like the holistic healing journey. What I have done is really focus simply on my diet. And I didn't realize with the bodybuilder type, like IIFYM macro counting world, while that can be helpful for some people, for someone with an eating disorder history, they'll say, oh, it's so helpful for me. But really, we're basically covering it up saying, oh, yeah, I can grip onto all this control and still be obsessive. And that was definitely the case for me. It actually gave me so much anxiety not to track. And I know that's the reality for a lot of other people too. A lot of people struggle with this stuff behind the scenes, and we keep it in the dark, and it doesn't have to be that way. And I'll be talking a lot more about this stuff. But basically, I was encouraged by my holistic health practitioner, and I went deep. I did so much self-study. I studied with the NTP or NTA, Nutritional Therapy Association, and obviously took the advice of my holistic practitioner, but was also studying on my own and was doing so much research, because I was done struggling, and I was done just taking one person's advice, because everybody's advice was different. And so what I did was I pretty much did an elimination diet and took the advice of, it's like the GAPS diet, but it's called something else. And basically it's like eliminates everything. You really stick to the basics, really restricted for a time period. And I was taking, it was only for a few weeks, for the sole purpose of healing the gut. And so I was taking a lot of supplements, a lot of like different healing like supplements for my gut. And that was really helpful too. I was put on a liver gallbladder supplement that I take to this day, or else I have like gallbladder attacks. I was taking different things for like eliminating some of the bacteria in my gut, and to restore bacteria in the gut and heal the gut lining. Because basically the way in which I had been eating before with IFYM and with macro counting was that I was eating a bunch of processed shit that was causing my gut to just be torn apart. And also I had horrible blood sugar. I was like basically pre-diabetic with the tests that they had tested on me, being literally like 19, 20 years old, being basically pre-diabetic and like having all these blood sugar issues because of the way in which I was eating, because I thought fat was bad. And I would literally only have like 20 to 30 grams a day with my macros. And our bodies as women, we need fat. We it is a normal thing. Our bodies thrive and are supposed to have that as our main fuel source, and then carbs and protein, or protein is kind of like a main source, and carbs are like the kindling fire in our bodies that, you know, our body should be able to use and utilize, but we don't crash every 2 hours. That is not normal. I will say that a lot of issues also arise from me being on hormonal birth control and anxiety and depression medication. And I have you guys know I talked about anxiety and depression and did the videos, and I also recommended the book A Mind of Your Own if you guys want to know more about that, especially females. It's a book I highly recommend, but hormonal birth control fucks you up, and I won't get into that because this video is already getting really long. But that fucked up a lot of stuff for me, especially with my hormones, and I have yet to get my period back. So still working on the healing process. Adrenal fatigue takes a long time to heal, but it started for me within the gut. I also had to decrease my training and change up the way in which I am training, and I'm still working on that because I did and still am healing my exercise addiction. And that's been the hardest thing for me to let go of, honestly, because it's like my place of control. It's my go-to. And so I really had to decrease my training so that there wasn't as much stress on my system, because your nervous system doesn't know the difference between you literally being chased by a tiger or you training in the gym. If your system is taxed, that stress is stress regardless of if it's good or bad. And so constantly being in a state of stress and anxiety, and that's going to perpetuate the issues that are going on, right? And so me training so hard was just adding on to that stress and totally causing my body to just shut down. I still weightlift, I still do cardio, but just decreasing it and taking that down a notch, and I'm still working on taking it down, honestly. So that is something that I definitely had to decrease. In terms of my diet, now the way in which I eat, and I will do some like full days of eating and stuff like that, because I totally just do intuitive eating, and I know that I was doing keto for a while, and so a lot of you guys probably have questions about that. Keto served me so well, but right now my body is needing some more carbs in my diet, but I still eat like a whole food diet. It's really, really rare that I'm gonna eat processed food unless it's like Nadamu ice cream, which is my favorite. And so different things like treats every now and then I will definitely have, but even like desserts, we try to make everything at home because otherwise I am literally struggling for a few days afterwards with my digestive system, with my energy, with my blood sugar. So obviously I'm still in healing mode, but what I do is, in terms of my diet, is very, very whole foods based. I have no dairy, no gluten, no processed food. And that may seem restrictive to some people, but for me, I have freedom now. I have freedom from food. I don't have an addiction to the processed stuff. I really genuinely, like, my most highest value is how I feel. And if I don't have to struggle with my energy, with gallbladder attacks, with acid reflux, with diarrhea, with gas, with bloating, with all of that stuff, I'm gonna choose that over shitty chemicals any day. That's a journey in and of itself. That's something I can talk about more, about breaking the addiction to food or how to transition into a more whole foods diet, because I remember whenever I cut out gluten and dairy and stuff, I was like, but what about bagels and bread and all the things? And it was terrifying, like literally terrifying, because I ate so much of that stuff. And now I didn't realize how crappy I felt until I cut it out. And that's the case for most people. Now, the last thing, I know this is getting really, really long, but I really had to also work on decreasing my stress, decreasing my anxiety, and really focusing on rest and recovery. It doesn't matter what you're doing physically, if internally you are always having anxiety, you're always in worry mode, you're always like on guard all the time, if that's going on internally, you will never be able to heal. And so a lot of my journey has been working all up with my mindset. And it seems woo-woo or whatever, but it's not. It's the way that in which it works, right? Your mind is controlling your body. And so I really had to work on managing my anxiety because I was the most anxious person ever, always having panic attacks, always on guard, always worrying, always stressed out. And so I really had to learn how to navigate that and heal it and work through it. And it's not that I never have anxiety anymore. I have anxiety every day. Now I just know how to work through it and not let it take control of me. So I know that this video is getting really, really long, but I know a lot of people have asked me like what that journey looks like, because I used to complain all the time that I had all these health issues, and I definitely still have a lot of issues going on. Like I said, haven't gotten my period back, and I got off birth control, the hormonal birth control, about 2.5 years ago, and I still haven't gotten my period back. But a lot of that has been because my body's still in a state of just chronic stress, and that's because of all the eating disorder tendencies, because of restriction, because of stress, because of over-exercising. So it's not a healthy place to have a cycle, right? So that's something I'm working on healing. My gut health is a lot better. My energy is a lot better. My mood is a lot better. But it took combining and making this synergy of mind, body, and spirit. And I had to really work on all of those in order to really elevate my health. Whether it be eating disorder stuff, self-image stuff, anxiety, stress, depression, gut issues, leaky gut, hormonal stuff, any of that, adrenal fatigue, I want you to know that you don't have to keep struggling with that, and there is a way out. There is a way towards healing and feeling genuinely healthy and well and happy and free within your own body so that you can live your highest, best life. So that has been my journey thus far. I would love to dive into more specifics about, I know I just like threw everything at you guys, but I thought it would be a really good introduction. And then anything that you guys want to hear more about, any of the things I just talked about, pop it in the comments down below. Let me know, because I can definitely do a video over other things as well and dive into more specific things too. So let me know if there's any questions you guys have, anything you want me to dive in more to, or anything you want to see, like full days of eating, how I maintain my body year round, how I avoid like yo-yoing with my diet or with my body, any of those things, let me know down below. And that's gonna be it for this video. Sorry it was so long, and I will chat with you guys next time.